Learning to be resourceful. Learning to be resourceful. See, in this very short video, I'm just going to share with you how you can be resourceful and make a beautiful meal without the normal equipment that you're used to. You see, here I'm cooking polenta. So some people call it polenta, ischwala, sadza, baba, pap, depending from where you come from. So when you're making pap, usually you have a pot, you'll be cooking it on a stove, gas stove, electric stove, you could be on fire. That's really all dependent on you. But anyway, today I didn't have the normal equipment. However, I had a rice cooker. Now, can you imagine a rice cooker actually cooking pap and istrala? So I make a meal using the equipment that I've got. So I've got a rice cooker to make pap. Obviously, the spoon that I'm using to mix is not ideal. I would recommend to use a wooden spoon so that you can actually mix it well. Whatever that spoon did well, so I was able to mix most of the mixture in order to make the consistency that I wanted. And then the other machine that I used was an air fryer for me to actually fry my vegetables. And then I also used a microwave in order to cook and make my beans very tasty. So at the end of it all, my meal was pap, I will say polenta, green vegetables. The green vegetables was kale, including cabbage, with tomatoes, and then the beans were kind of like unfamiliar beans, the tin beans, but I also mixed them with a bit of spice and a little bit of butter, and I made it work. So now remember what I've said at the beginning, that you can actually make use of the resources that are around you and then have a nice meal for yourself. So I think in the video you can see the different stages of me making pap, istrala, sadza, papa, depending where you come from. So here I'm dropping the consistency to show you that it's actually solidifying and is looking very good. Remember the vegetables that I told you about. So it's kale with cabbage, and I put them in the air fryer. I also share with you the seasoning that I actually added to the vegetables. So that's just a bit of olive oil, and then you can, I don't think the brand really matters, but you can put any oil that you want. You can put any seasoning to you like, because it's up to your taste. But remember, I'm just making a meal from the resources that I've got. A little bit of chili. That's what I could find in the cupboard in a place that I was in. So this is me just switching on the air fryer, and I put the setting to bake and roast. I thought I was air frying, but it's bake and roast. And then I set the temperature, I set the time. However, I actually was checking the vegetables on a regular basis. I didn't actually use the whole 15 minutes. I think I used maybe about 9 minutes or less. So, but then the trick is to keep checking on the vegetables. And then in the meantime, I chopped that tomato, put it in a bowl. I put the tomato in the microwave, and I put a little bit of honey, just a tiny bit, just to remove the acidity from the tomato. But it's entirely up to you. The other things that I could recommend for you to add to the tomatoes would be a tiny little bit of brown sugar, if you have any, but it's just finding something that is a little bit sweet. And what I do is I'm not completely closing the plate there. I'm leaving a little bit of space so that a bit of air can come out, making sure that it doesn't break the plate or have any accidents or hazards in there. So in the meantime, I keep, while the tomatoes are going in the microwave now with the vegetables I'm stirring. I would also recommend using a wooden spoon here, but remember, I'm just making use of what I've got. I know how to control the spoon so that it doesn't scrape the uh, air fryer container, and then after I've done that, I then go check on my pap in the rice cooker. It's looking good. I am really enjoying it. The nice thing about the rice cooker is that it shows you when it's done the cooking. So from an orange color to a red, to a green color, and there I am. I'm checking my tomatoes. They're not done, so I put them back again, add a bit more minutes, because I'm looking for them to be almost a liquidish like, so that I can mix them with the greens and mix them with the beans a little bit later. And yes, I am loving the consistency of this pap, and it will be easy for me to mold. It's just falling off from the plastic spoon. It would be usually from a wooden spoon. I must say it's making the right sounds here for those that know how the cooked pap, stwala or sadza it makes when it's actually been cooked properly. And what I'm doing here, I'm just looking for any little lumps and just mixing it. But as I'm going through it, I don't see any lumps, but I'm just really loving that consistency. Means I'll be able to mold it. And remember, keep checking the vegetables on a regular basis, because I want them nice and crunchy. I don't want them overcooked. I just make sure they're nice and crunchy for me to eat. So then I close it and carry on, and now I look at my tomatoes and I'm thinking at this point, I should be leave them a little bit longer, and I'm thinking I think they need to go back for a little bit longer. Again, I'll take them out a little bit later, and remembering to leave a little bit of space so that it doesn't steam up and maybe crack the plate or something. So I had a few more minutes here, not that I know how many, but then this is the consistency. This is what I'm looking for. And then I take half of it, add them to the cooked greens, and then I take the other half, I add them to the beans. These are the beans that I'm trying out, the bajela beans. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. But I drain the water from, I open the tin, obviously drain the water, and then put the tin, the contents of the tin inside a plate. Put a little bit of vegetable or butter or spread, let's put it that way, and then mix it up with spices as well. I'm just going to show you the spread that I used, but you can use any to your taste, to your liking, but this is what's available to me, so I do that. And then after that, once I've cooked it for a little bit in the microwave, I take the remainder of the tomato, mix it together, and remembering that I also seasoned the tomatoes. It is time for me to dish, enjoy my meal, and don't forget to subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and follow and share any contents. Remember to also tidy up after yourself. That's the meal. Up until next time, God bless you.